Okay, so here's the backstory. So last year for Christmas, I did my first ever like specific Christmas cosplay, which was Pomni. And since then, I was like, why not do one every year if I want to? If I don't want to one year, then that's fine too. But I did want to this year. So for this year's Christmas cosplay, I had my eyes set on this canon Christmas version of Daisy, which appears in Mario Kart Tour. It's called her. What? One second. What is the actual name of it? Shoot. It's called her holiday cheer outfit. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, yes, that should be my next one. So that's what I did. Initially, this was just going to be just like for a shoot, so there was no real deadline. But then I realized that Akimatsuri was coming up, which is like this winter one-day little convention that happens in Richmond. So I was like, well, that's going to be the perfect opportunity to wear this. So I did actually have a deadline, and I'm usually very fast with making cosplays. It usually only takes me like a few days. But there were some complications, which we'll get into. But anyway, the backstory. The backstory is that I was making this for Akimatsuri, and yeah. Okay, cool. So I first started off, of course, with cutting out my pattern pieces. So for the pattern, I'm using this Vogue pattern, which unfortunately, I've outgrown since the last time I've used it, which I am very upset about. So I did have to add a couple inches on each side to make it hopefully fit. It did fit in the end. It was way too big in the end. So I was able to like really take it in. But anyway, that was the method to the madness. Sewed that all together, and thankfully I didn't have to finish any of my edges because it was like a fleece-lined material. That was really nice. That helped with the fact that I didn't have a lot of time to make this. So then once it was all sewn together, I cut a little bit off of the bottom so I would sit at my knees because it is a knee-length coat. I cut out my trim and then sewed that to the bottom, and this is where things started to immediately go wrong. It looked bad. I wasn't sure why, like it was bunching up really weirdly and it just looked awful. So I thought, next logical step, let's try stuffing it, which in retrospect, not good. But anyway, I sacrificed this old pillow and started stuffing it, and it looks absolutely ridiculous. So that was a no. So then I had to call my dad and be like, why do you think this is happening? And he was like, well, I think it's because the material you're using is not actually faux fur. I was trying to save money, so I got something that kind of looked like faux fur, but wasn't actually faux fur. So he's like, you should get something with faux fur because it's probably just not heavy enough to sit correctly. So I had to go to Fabricland and look at their faux furs, and I managed to find one that was on sale, thank goodness, because faux fur is freaking expensive. Take two of the trim, machine sewed one side and then hand sewed the other side while watching Markiplier's mouth-washing walkthrough, subtle foreshadowing of what's to come, and it still looked bad. It looked slightly less bad, but it still looked bad. So basically, I don't have footage, but I had to seam rip this so many times, and that burnt up most of my time. I initially had a good amount of time to do this cosplay, and then just my struggles with the trim totally messed everything up. So it was very frustrating. My friend Madeline, hopefully you all know Madeline, she came over to help work on it, which was very nice. And she is literally a professional. So her diagnosis was that the bottom of the coat is curved, but the trim is not curved, and that's why it was bunching up. So I had to take everything off, cut the bottom to make it more level, and then finally sew it back on, and here we go. We did it. Finally, there it is. So I was then able to continue on and add the sleeves, but then I had to do Caplet. And if you know me, you know that I pretty much can't function without a pattern, which is kind of embarrassing, but it is what it is. So I thought that I could pattern this out myself, but I was completely like clueless, which is embarrassing because it's just a capelet. But anyway, so Madeline very kindly drove me to Fabricland late at night, right before they closed, and helped me find this pattern not helped me. She found the pattern, and so I cut that out and made the caplet, which was actually very straightforward once I figured it all out. Put some really big clasps in the front of the coat to act as a closure, and then I also added a couple there for the caplet. Sewed on these pom-poms. The pom-poms were so expensive. They were like $12 each. But I knew that if I made them myself, it would look terrible. So worth it, but also ouch. So sewed those suckers on. Then I made the beret, which was very straightforward. I just took a beret that I had and used that as a pattern. Sewed those two pieces together, turned them inside out, and then hemmed the opening. Make sure you use a zigzag stitch. I didn't the first time for some reason because I was stupid. I really don't know why I didn't, but it didn't stretch over my head, so I had to redo it all. So don't be like me. Don't make that mistake. Added the pom-pom and then made some super cute little pieces of holly just out of felt and stuffing. Sewed those on. Looks adorable. Probably one of my favorite parts of the cosplay. Then she has a little present, and since posing is hard, we want as many props as we possibly can. So I just took this box that I got at Dollarama and covered it with some foam that I had that's been sitting there for like a decade that I've never used. So finally got to use those. Very straightforward process, very satisfying. And then the lid kept popping off. So pop off. So I decided to add some magnets to secure the lid, and it actually worked really well. Packed that full of chocolates to give out at the convention, and then finally I worked on the boots, and they don't look good, but I didn't really want to make them. I don't like making boot covers, so just kind of did the thing. Here I am hemming them. Here added some elastic to keep them down, and then added some fur, and that's it. So wore this to Akimatsuri. It was boring. It was smaller than the last time I had gone. I went like a couple years ago, and they've downsized. So there wasn't a whole lot to do, and I was really, really hot because wearing a fleece-lined coat indoors in a room full of people was not smart. So not my finest moment. So I was going to take videos and stuff, and then I didn't. But we got some cute photos in the mall. There's a mall next door to the convention, and so we took some cute photos in the mall. Thank you, Madeline, for the mall photos. Yeah, that's that. So overall, for what it is, I think it's fine. The problem was that I got into a certain fandom like days before the convention. And so that was what I was thinking about while we were at Akimatsuri. So I was wearing one cosplay, but really wanting to be in a different cosplay, which that's coming soon. You'll see. If you follow me on Instagram, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. But anyway, there you go. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. But until then, Panda Faces, please be sure to take care. Bye.